Aaron Kraft from Ohio State was as good a defensive player as you could find, perhaps in the entire run of Big Ten basketball.
Kraft threw it off Hayden and scores to make it a one-point game.
He won the Conference Defensive Player of the Year award 2 different times. Only 5 other men in the history of the honor have done that. He did it as a sophomore in 2012 and a senior in 2014. He was such a shutdown performer, he was on the Big Ten All-Defensive team each of his 4 years. So yeah, even as a freshman, he was terrifying to go up against.
What a dive and save by Kraft!
Not only did he lead the league in steals 3 different seasons, but no player in the entire decade had more swipes than he had. He was so good, he frustrated one of the greatest Big Ten coaches of all time.
I hate Aaron Kraft.
He throws it into the backcourt, and Kraft hustles after it, and rips it in, and one!
But to tell the story of Aaron Kraft, you have to mention more than just one side of the ball. He was so valuable to his Buckeyes, he was the league's 6th man of the year as a freshman, and the league's tournament most outstanding player as a junior. And oh, by the way, if Thad Matta needed a clutch shot with the season on the line, he knew who to turn to. Aaron Kraft won more games than any Big Ten player this past decade, and he took his team to the Final Four in 2012. That's why our panel selected him to the Big Ten All-Decade 3rd team.
The next member of our All-Decade team, Indiana point guard Kevin Yogi Ferrell.
Yogi with a big 3!
A Hoosier State native who dreamed of wearing the cream and crimson as a youngster, Ferrell would leave Bloomington as one of IU's all-time greats.
Yogi Ferrell back in now. Ferrell with a voice and one!
Ferrell's impact was immediate as he started every game his freshman season, finishing as the 3rd leading assist man in the Big Ten. The next year would see a more well-rounded Ferrell, who wrapped up his sophomore campaign, ranked among the league's top 6 in points, assists, and 3-pointers made. Ferrell's junior year would see him take yet another step, earning 1st team All Big Ten honors.
Stays it to Yogi, 3-pointer on the way, good!
For this home state hero, passing on the NBA to return for his senior season was a decision that would cement his Hoosier legacy. On January 19th, 2016, Ferrell passed IU legend Isaiah Thomas to become the school's all-time leader in assists.
There's the record for Ferrell on the assist, and Yogi Ferrell is the all-time Indiana assist king.
Ferrell played and started more games than any Hoosier in history, owns multiple school records, and led Indiana to 3 NCAA tournaments, including 2 Sweet 16 appearances. And yet, throughout his career, Ferrell remained one of the most underrated players in the country.
I think Yogi Ferrell is one of the most unappreciated players that I've ever seen in college basketball.
Over Kaminsky. Ferrell! Right there showed you Yogi Ferrell's character. He didn't whine, sulk, he went to work.
Ferrell's accomplishments have become more appreciated with the passing of time, and now we honor him as a member of our all-decade 3rd team.
You know, for something like this to happen to me, just shows that hard work does pay off.
Purdue's JuJuan Johnson was a top 50 prospect who went on to have an absolutely incredible college career, with his best years bleeding into this decade.
Watch out! Here comes JJ! Bam!
The 6'10 big man played 4 seasons in West Lafayette, including his junior year in 2010, when he averaged 15 points and 7 rebounds a game. But his senior year, yow!
Hummel. Oh, inside! JJ with the dip jam.
His senior year, he averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 35 minutes played while leading the league in blocks. And he won some pretty big honors, like the Big Ten scoring title, the league's player of the year, and the conference defensive player of the year.
JuJuan, what do you think when you hear that phrase? Big Ten Player of the Year, JuJuan Johnson.
The words really write down, but I'm so happy for my teammates and the university. It's a good feeling.
Johnson led his team to the first Big Ten regular season title in 14 years in 2010. And in 2011, guided the Boilermakers to a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, before becoming a first-round NBA draft pick.
The New Jersey Nets select JuJuan Johnson from Purdue University.
His number 25 hangs from the Mackey Arena rafters. And for those reasons, our panel made him a third-team Big Ten All-Decade member.
In his 4 years at Minnesota, Jordan Murphy left an indelible mark on the Big Ten record books.
It's just hard, just having the heart and the mindset to go get those rebounds, and that's the biggest thing, just having being able to be physically tough and mentally tough to go get them.
A fairly lightly recruited kid from San Antonio, who originally committed to VCU, Murphy got the absolute most out of his abilities.
Down low, Murphy!
Blessed with great hands and a tremendous feel for the game, Murphy was a study in persistence. All-freshman team his first year, third-team all-conference as a sophomore, second-team all-conference as a junior, and finally, a first-team All-Big Ten pick in his final year.
Murphy ends up with it and pivots for Thunder.
Murphy played on 2 NCAA tourney teams, but whether the Gophers were competing for the dance or winning just 8 games in a season as they did his freshman year, Murphy attacked the glass with relentless tenacity.
That is Jordan Murphy. He's the guy.
Pouring in at least 20 points 19 times. Added up, and the man was a double-double machine, finishing with a school record 67.
Coffee for 3, rattled out. Murphy the follow at the buzzer, it'll count.
From recruiting afterthought to third-team all-decade in the eyes of our panel, Jordan Murphy left a lasting legacy in the Twin Cities. It is hard to make a college all-decade team when you only played 1 year of college basketball, as Ohio State's D'Angelo Russell did. But it speaks to just how good that year was.
Russell, beautiful moves. Wow.
Russell had a lot of pressure on him from the get-go, replacing Aaron Kraft as the Buckeyes point guard. And it's fair to say he was up to the task.
Kid's got too many skills. He's got too many shots. Make others beat you.
Among his many accomplishments, Russell recorded the first ever triple-double by a Buckeye freshman with 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists in a win over Rutgers.
That's like Peyton Manning hitting somebody who's not where he's supposed to be yet.
His numbers in that lone 2015 season were outstanding. Better than 19 points per game, more than 5 boards. As a passer, averaged 5 assists per game, many of them spectacular.
Russell worth the price of admission. Buckeyes rolling.
At the end of the season, the accolades poured in. Not only was Russell the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, he was also a first-team All-American and won the Jerry West Award, given to the nation's top shooting guard.
Off a little screen, catches the ball, and whips you away from the screen. Now,
third-team All-Decade pick on our BTN list. Russell jumped to the NBA after that one season, which turned out to be a wise choice. He was the number 2 pick in that league's draft and has gone on to an all-star career.
It took just 2 years, including one of the most outstanding sophomore seasons in college basketball history, for Caleb Biggie Swanigan to earn all-decade honors.
Big day for Purdue hoops. The frenzy surrounding Swanigan really cranked up a couple of weeks ago when he decommitted from Michigan State. The Fort Wayne Homestead senior is the first McDonald's All-American to commit to the Boilermakers since 1996.
Swanigan arrived in West Lafayette as perhaps the Boilermakers' most highly prized recruit ever. Yet just 4 years earlier, Biggie tipped the scales at more than 350 pounds. With the help of an AAU coach and Purdue legend Roosevelt Barnes, Swanigan transformed his body and ultimately his basketball future. Biggie lived up to the hype his freshman year, averaging more than 10 points and 8 boards per game to earn a spot on the Big Ten's all-freshman team. Swanigan's combination of size and skill offered intrigue to several NBA teams. Yet Swanigan decided to return for his sophomore season.
If he came back, I knew that this is going to be a huge year for him.
Perhaps no one could have foreseen what would happen next. Swanigan simply became one of the most dominant big men in Big Ten history. The Conference Player of the Year and consensus first-team All-American, became the first player nationally in 2 decades to average 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. Even more amazingly, Swanigan posted 4 20-point, 20-rebound games that season.
Watch this, block out, kind of reacts to it, goes out, comes back, whack!
Caleb Biggie Swanigan, a member of our all-decade third team.